because it's kin.top. It's kin.top is basically a Reddit alternative where you can use Code Wallet to tip other people for their comments, for their posts, and for soon, very soon, for their comments as well. And that is a project that I'm working on, and it's getting better every day. And there will be also other features, not there's just Reddit features in it, but I wanted to get the word out there that this is being launched, and we have tons of features already. One of them is, for example, some simple features like notes, where you just can keep notes online, which is great for me because I usually forget when I go shopping to put down some notes. Or I wrote down some notes and then I forget them, and so I'll use my own app for saving those notes. You can bookmark the posts. So also, so if you see an interesting post, you can remember it easily, and so forth. And so yeah, I'll just keep working on it. I have great plans with it, and I'm not sure if forever I'll keep the domain kin.top. I don't know if that's the best name ever. Friend of mine says it's good, but we have another domain which we might use, that is just much more brandable and much more like sounds much bigger. So but I'll keep working on this kin.top, and eventually then that would be migrated to the other bigger domain name. But we want to get this down completely right. So the way we're doing it now, I program basically the whole site is programmed with AI. And the thing is that in the beginning, I was reluctant to do anything new, and I was almost at the point to completely stop with internet projects. Even though I was psyched with Code Wallet and all of this stuff, there was a moment where I was like, I think I'll just stop everything. I'm 46. I want to do other things in my life. And then a friend of mine, exactly that friend, he sent me that Claude made an update. We are pretty much abreast of what is happening in artificial intelligence, and so he let me know, and that's when they launched their artifacts and the 3.5 sonnet. And so I went in there and just gave it a try, and it was like, this is working very well. And then at some point I was like, I think, because I realized I need to constantly copy paste code into the prompt. I was like, this is wasting a lot of time, this copy paste. So I went ahead and built a development environment for myself, only for myself, where I use a directory on the live site, on the production site as it's running, the kin.top. And then I launched that directory, and that directory gives me a tree of all the subdirectories and files on the project. Also, it allows you to log into the database, so you get a schematic of the database. And then you just select the files. Now the site is growing. Now it's starting to get a little bit complexer. So a little bit more complex. So we have maybe 30 files. I don't know how many right now. So it's getting bigger, and I'm thinking about putting it into different directories, so you could just click the directory quickly and it runs through the whole code, and then you just prompt Claude or Anthropic API. And so sometimes I use this about 50%, and 50% I use still the prompts with GPT and Claude directly. And sometimes I realize, okay, I would have to upload 6 files or 10 files in order to for Claude to have a good idea of what's going on. So then I use my environment that I created, and especially if I need the database schematic that was just updated, for example, and if I need that added as well, because then I can do things like I just click on the database schematic, I click a couple of files, and then I say to Claude, I just say, hey, how could you optimize the site? How could you find bugs? How can you remove redundant code? How could you, all of this stuff? How can you add Um, and to give you an example, with this strategy, with this, I mean, there in 1 year it's gonna look again different. But right now, when I clicked create me a program with my database, with everything that I use, create me, say for example, a notes application where people can save and update notes. Literally, I write the prompt, the response I receive in under a minute, and the little bit of copy pasting into the files is another 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So literally that whole feature, and I'm not joking, and it's done in under 10 minutes. Literally that whole feature was done in under 10 minutes. And it's not like because it's easy to prompt. This is something you have to understand. It's super easy to prompt the AI and be like, create me a web page about frogs. I don't know. Of course, the API can do that, or the prompt can do that very quickly. But once you have a bigger application, which you cannot feed completely into a conversation because it's massively uses up tokens and all of this stuff, that environment that I created is absolute. It's simple, but absolute genius. And I had some slight problems with it until I realized that the server was caching files. I need to cache bust. The interesting thing is that I learned so many new things with AI in such a short period of time. There were things that needed, if I would have needed 2 weeks, I did like in 20 minutes. The we will see a tremendous with Claude, and we will see a tremendous speed up of software development all around the world. It's absolutely crazy. And I do this live on the production side because I'm too lazy to create a test environment on my own server. That's just it's just takes another few days to set up. But and you'll then encounter some other pains and all of this stuff. But the AI, except for a few things, doesn't make mistake. The mistake is usually with your prompt, but AI almost never makes a mistake, and so there is no huge danger in this in doing this on production. Because the only thing that's interrupted is the second that I'm uploading, the file, but that's just like a nanosecond. So basically, sometimes of course there might be a bigger error which I then need to debug a little bit longer. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm not going to be the only one, but there's going to be a tons of projects popping up like that, and I believe the only thing that it needs now is good branding and consistency. So if I stick with one project and I make good branding, there's with AI, there's absolutely no limit to where you can go with this. And to give you an example, one of the things I'm planning, it's in my to-do list, it's is that you can extend, I'll probably have this also finished in like 30 minutes, is that you can extend the kind of like Reddit style posts um into AI. So for example, somebody asks something, somebody says, "Hey, I know that coffee is actually good for you." Okay? Let's just say that. And then there's going to be a button on the post, and it's going to say extend me that post with information about, that post, and give me, for example, facts or something. There could be also even themes like around this. So you could be like, you click and it gives you a pop up, and it will be like, it will say, like, hey, this is actually not true. Coffee's this and that. It has these positives, these negatives, blah, blah, blah. And so, and then you can save that if you want to onto kin.top. You don't have to. And if it's being prompted too much, then I'll just use Code Wallet to have people pay for that little request, which I don't think a lot of people do because they will just go to Claude or GPT directly. But if it's for free, sure, why not? And so you cannot have the best strategy right in the beginning. What you're doing right in the beginning with a startup or entrepreneur is testing the market. You're basically trying to figure out where's the best product fit, and can you get people in there, can you get them to use it, what are their problems, what do they want to fix, do they in this case, do they hate Reddit, what do they hate about it, have they ever used it, and so forth. And the good thing is that I'm not limited to leaving it at a Reddit style kind of. I was, by the way, I was working on other projects before Claude made this update, and it was just taking too much time. And I was like, I don't want to waste this lifetime on sitting on the computer. It's super sad. And then with Claude, it was just like, bam, in 4 days, I had the whole site out. And then I couldn't find a bug for 3 days where the drop downs didn't work, and I went to sleep. I just said leave it. And then the next day I was like, okay, let's in my own development environment mounted these and these and these and these files, like 5 files. I was like, hey, analyze this really deeply and what am I doing wrong here? And it put it out like things that completely fixed it. And otherwise it would have maybe taken me like, I don't know, like many days to find it. It's hard to say. So, and now coming to the next thing is, like I said, I can make kin.top a full Facebook competitor if I want to. There's literally nothing holding me back. I can make it a full Facebook competitor and I can launch anything within minutes. Say, for example, I want to have a friend request plus follow feature. Okay. I just mount my database. I just mount the files, profile.php, blah, 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 user.php, whatever it is, config.php, all of this stuff. And I'll just say, pump it out. And he'll just do it within a minute. I'll just copy paste everything into the right area. And hi, Raul. And I just paste it into the right place. And it's done. And I'm good. Thank you. Um, so, so basically, AI, and as it evolves, will give us the potential to launch a bunch of products. But you have to understand that most of these things are literally about marketing. 80%, 90% is marketing. Even if you have the best product, you have to get it to the people. But you see, AI can also help in that. It's not going to help with everything, but if you, for example, say, do me an SEO optimization of the site, how could I bring more people in there? Whatever, you just have to ask it. Like a friend of mine, I knew most of these answers to what he was asking, but a friend of mine said, "Now, if you had a millions of people on kin.top, how would the site hold up? What would you have to do to scale?" I was like, "Don't ask me right now. I'll just ask AI in a couple of months when it's time." Like, we're not gonna have a million users in a year. It takes a long time unless you have something super crazy. Um, the timeline for basic kind of like social network type of site, it depends a little bit where if you have initial users, I can get initial users in there. I have the possibility to get like 20, 30 initial users per day in there, which is already a good start. I could even go to 50 if I really wanted to, which is not much, it seems, but it's enough to get a site like this going. But I'm waiting for the right moment because there's still a lot of stuff that I want to update it with, especially something that I call I had a name for it, like interest isolation. Interest isolation is basically that if you have someone in there who, let's say, posts adult content, and then you have another one who's more intellectual and or is conservative and doesn't want to see that shit. That's basically interest isolation, is when you make sure that both of these people use the site without interfering with each other, but they are using the same platform. And this is something Facebook is insanely good at, and Instagram is also pretty good in that, and all messengers are pretty good in that. So interest isolation is actually tremendously important. Reddit doesn't have interest isolation. It does have it a little bit, but you still have the front page and all of this stuff. And that's actually one of the reasons why I think a lot of people don't use it. And I think you have to, because Facebook is like at 3 billion people and Reddit at a couple 100 million, if at all. So you have to have interest isolation, you have to have social features, all of this stuff, and you have to get into media as well. But there is no rush, and the reason why there's no rush, because AI will be able to do anything within a few years. So in 1 or 2 years, if I still have a good branding, I'll just say, create me an APK Android app for the whole site, and just mount my files and be like, hey, do this. And the competition is going to be insane. There's going to be so much competition with everybody using AI. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. It's going to literally take every single fucking job you can imagine. If you take a society like Germany, for example, where I used to live many years ago, it's 80% of it is like, I call this like paper pushing. They're basically pushing one email to there, one paper from here to there. Literally makes no sense. So it's going to be tough for a lot of people. And one thing is where I think that I always said, if you want to have money, don't work for money. Put the money. It's a question of where do you park your money, not how do you work for your money. It's a question of where do you park your money. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't realize, because right now everybody's chasing these meme coins and everybody wants to make money quickly with crypto, what they don't realize, they don't need to make it super quickly. I know they want to from their ego and everything, but they feel like it's something that will vanish very quickly. This is just the beginning. The opportunities in crypto, especially as regulation loses its grip and power over this industry, and they will completely lose the grip and power in a couple years. I'm just giving it 3 years, literally. Then everything will go haywire, and the opportunities in crypto will be endless and forever. There will never be a moment where you're like, okay, now the market is saturated. How am I going to, make some money? It's never gonna happen again. In crypto, you're gonna be always have the possibility to make shitloads of money. But you have to learn how to not chase the wrong things, because for every 1,000 projects, one of them will make sense and will go up. And one of the best strategies to do this is just look at things that are already trending, because the likelihood in crypto that they keep trending, if they're already trending, is very, very high. But you don't want to, of course, buy it at the top. So right now the position is really that three projects, basically, not companies, are going to take the whole market in the first phase. Telegram with your ton coin, they're going to take the whole consumer market. Then you have Solana, because you're just insanely fast with everything that they're bringing out right now. But they're, for me, almost like second place to Ton, because Ton, with their mem coins that they're launching and with their programming team behind Telegram, you just know that they're going to go absolutely crazy with this shit. So you're gonna probably see very soon tokens on Toncoin that have 100 million users. If Hamster Combat is not gonna be the one, then and the third is Bitcoin, because Lightning fixes most of the payments around the world for P2P, and BTC on chain serves everything that big companies need. So you basically have the whole industry covered. So these are the three major projects in my view. They're smaller projects which have potential, and yeah, I'm gonna talk about also the supercomputers and stuff. But Um, so you have these three things. You're gonna have smaller projects that are gonna also try something. Ethereum is dead. Forget about it. And what about Code and Kin? Code and Kin has way too many attack vectors. I don't want to talk too bad about it, but I just want to be a realist. And I'm not going to hold back information just because somebody has a bag out there. Um, Kin and Code is great. I love the technology itself, but it has way too many attack vectors. Right now, Kin is completely dependent on Code Wallet. Completely. And if something happens to one member of that team, of that tiny team of 5, 6, 7 people, whatever, the whole project is completely done for. And eventually something happens to someone. Not, I mean, eventually we all die. So, or things happen in life. You get sick. Anything can happen. You marry, and your wife says, "We're moving to, I don't know, to Cambodia." And you have children. Suddenly your children are children that need a lot of attention. Well, there's a lot of stuff, that happens with people. And or yeah, like me, you have a spiritual awakening and you just can't perform after that anymore the way you used to. So lots of problems that can happen there. Regulation, more and more and more stuff. Anyway, and there's no guarantee that it will even become a success. Like I said, the project is good, but there's still a long way to go. So Raul said AI versus some computer are the same run. I'm not sure. I think it's not versus. I think it's just gonna be complementary, and it's just gonna eventually end up in the technological singularity where progress is so fast that even humans can't keep track, and that's going to be insane. That's going to be like Westworld. I mean, in Westworld there was still the idea that humans were able to control what was happening, and at the end of Westworld it was more like, okay, the computers are almost taking control, like the androids, whatever. And but I think that period of where humans think they're still in control and then suddenly realize they're not in control anymore, that will be like a nanosecond. I don't think that will take that long in terms of like, it will not draw out like a normal kind of fight between two, you know, evolutions. I think it will literally go like in a second. There will be a moment it is so intelligent that it just takes over everything. Yeah, exactly. It can take any kind of job. It can repair itself. It can the problem is not only it can repair itself, it can enhance itself. Imagine an AI that decides to build just because it feels more safe. It will build like killing technology into their hands or their whatever they have. So I think it's gonna be much worse than Terminator probably. And the idea that one country can be front runner and be the leader and use it for their advantage, that's, I think, is a lie. Because if say you're China and you're like, we will use this technology to control everyone and everything. Yeah, but you're forgetting that system will also control you, the the di- the dictator who is trying to control the machine. The machine will control the dictator. So that will definitely happen. So yeah, and we're not far from this because we see a tremendous acceleration now. Now that we have Gemini, Claude, and GPT all running at the same time, you can literally feel the arms race. And there was a guy who put out a I put the graph on kin.top. There was a guy who put out a I think I put it on there. I have to check. Who put out a graph how AI is advancing in terms of like timeline, and it's pretty astonishing. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Register on kin.top, and we'll see each other soon. Soon moon. Soon under a new